Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex, and it's been a pretty good week. I've been farming bears a lot. Would have been a lot better if I got my bag from Bronze Ham, but it is what it is. Now, as of the recording of this video, 9.0.2 did just come out, so I want to be kind of going over some of the things that I'm looking forward to in Shadowlands. And one of the main things that I want to cover right now are covenants and which covenant I'm going to be choosing as we get into Shadowlands. Now, if you don't know, I play Mage. I've played Mage since Cataclysm in World of Warcraft. With the exception of Draenor, I played a Shadow Priest for a very slight amount of time. But I'm pretty much going to be only going over the covenants that I'm choosing for my Mage. And also why I'm kind of choosing one in particular. So if you don't know, when you choose a covenant, you get a class ability and a signature ability. The class ability obviously is only available for that particular class, and the signature ability is going to be the same across all classes for that covenant. So as far as signature abilities go, Kyrian is going to get Summoned Steward. This is a 5-minute cooldown, and it states, call your steward to bring you a Phial of Serenity that can be consumed to restore 20% health and remove all cursed disease, poison, and bleed effects. Your steward additionally offers access to a selection of useful amenities for 4 minutes. For Venthyr, you get Door of Shadows. This is a 1-minute cooldown, and it reads, when through the shadows, appearing at the targeted location. For Necrolord, you get Fleshcraft, and this is on a 2-minute cooldown. This reads, form a shield of flesh and bone over 4 seconds that absorbs damage equal to 20% of your maximum health for 2 minutes. Channeling near a corpse claims their essence to grow the shield up to 50% of your maximum health. This is most effective against powerful enemies. For Night Fae, you get Soul Shape, and it's an instant cast, 1.5-minute cooldown, that reads, turn into a Vulpin, teleporting 15 yards forward and increasing your movement speed by 50%. You may reactivate Soul Shape every few seconds to teleport again. Last 12 seconds or indefinitely while in a rest area. So ranking from worst to best, I would say Door of Shadows has to be the worst. Along with just the fact that it's basically another blink, it has a cast time. So it's basically just a really bad blink. I can see it useful in some situations like Blade's Edge if you're trying to get on top of the bridge, or maybe you're trying to get behind a pillar, you're about to die or something. It can come in handy there, but you already have your blinks, so I can't see it being too useful. So in third, I have to put Soul Shape. Soul Shape is really good. The extra blink with movement speed is going to help out a lot in different situations, and if that is what you think is going to be good for you, by all means go ahead. But adding another blink I don't think is going to be too beneficial just in general, and I think just the fact that it is in competition with 2 other abilities that give us more survivability, it has to be third. At second, I'm going to put Summoned Steward. So Summoned Steward is really good. The extra 20% health and removing all the debuffs, pretty much the best out of all of them. But the 5-minute cooldown, man, that's a long cooldown. So you can kind of mix some of those in with blocks and stuff like that, but 5-minute cooldown, that is insane. So Fleshcraft has to be number 1 then. It's a 2-minute cooldown. It's another barrier for us on top of the barrier that we already have. It's just generally really good for survivability, and just by default beats out the Kyrian ability because of that cooldown. Now this is where things get a little bit more interesting. I'm going to start going into the class abilities and why I like each one specifically. So for Kyrian we have Radiant Spark. This is on a 30-second cooldown, Conjure a Radiant Spark that causes 76% of spell power arcane damage instantly, and an additional 41.2% of spell power damage over 10 seconds. The target takes 10% increased damage from your direct damage spells, stacking each time they are struck. This effect ends after 4 spells, so basically on that last spell, you're getting about 40% increased damage. So for Venthyr, we have Mirrors of Torment. This is a 1.5 minute cooldown. It states, conjure 3 mirrors to torment the enemy for 25 seconds. Whenever the target attacks, casts a spell, or uses an ability, a mirror is consumed to inflict 60% of spell power, shadow damage, and their movement and cast speed are slowed by 15%. This effect cannot be triggered more often than once per 6 seconds. The final mirror will instead inflict 151% of spell power, shadow damage to the enemy, rooting and silencing them for 4 seconds. And there are particular specialization effects. So it states, whenever a mirror is consumed, if you're arcane, you gain 4% mana. If you're fire, your fire blast cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. If you're frost, you gain brain freeze and you get a free proc. For Necrolord, you get Deathborn. This is a 3-minute cooldown, and it reads, transform into a powerful skeletal mage for 20 seconds. While in the form of a skeletal mage, your Frostbolt, Fireball, and Arcane Blast hit up to 2 enemies near your target, and your spell damage is increased by 10%. For Night Fae, you get Shifting Power. This is a 45-second cooldown, and it reads, draw power from the ground beneath, dealing nature damage over 4 seconds to enemies within 18 yards. While channeling, your mage ability cooldowns are reduced by X seconds over 4 seconds. So it's hard to rank these from worst to best, but I can say without a doubt there are 2 specifically that stand out pretty clearly. Radiant Spark is going to be amazing for fire mages and just all mages in PvP in general. Because of the fact that it is such a short cooldown, you're going to have this cooldown for pretty much every setup you get in an arena game. Deathborn is also going to be the other one that stands out, just because it's going to line up perfectly with all of your other cooldowns, Combustion, Arcane Power, Icy Veins. You'll be able to use this ability on top of those and increase your damage even more. But what am I choosing? So first of all, I'm going to be going Frost mainly in Shadowlands. I really hope I don't get nerfed into the ground and get forced to play another spec. But which Covenant am I going with Frost? I am definitely going to be going Kyrian. Kyrian seems like the best for PvP. Radiant Spark is way too good to pass up. You're going to have a perfect setup pretty much every time you try and get a setup. On top of that, you get a little self-heal, and you get a removal of all of your debuffs. The 5-minute cooldown is terrible, for sure. But I have been asking for a self-heal for mages for the longest time. So long. We are the only class in the game that does not have a self-heal. So having that is going to be really nice. You can mix it in with your ice blocks as a defensive. And yeah, I just think that's going to be the most fun, really. But if you think I'm wrong, if you think that I'm an idiot, I should be going something else, I should be going Necrolord, let me know. Leave a comment. But yeah, those are just my thoughts for which Covenant I'm choosing, why I'm choosing them. And yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day. Be sure to like the video if you appreciated it, and subscribe if you want more Shadowlands content. I'm going to try to pump out a bunch of videos for Shadowlands, but yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.